Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining us for this week's currency market commentary. Looking at the dollar index here, we'll look at this first of all, get a technical view as to where it looks likely to head over the coming days and weeks, then we'll go and back that up with a look at some of the spot currencies. Just want to start with the daily chart first of all today. Just to highlight some old arrows I had left drawn on my charts here from a previous one of these videos that I did. And what I'd done back here was I'd shown how the dollar index daily chart here was making consecutive lower highs while making higher lows. That's a period of indecision, and we want to be looking at that period of indecision and seeing, does it break upwards from there or does it break downwards? Now temporarily, for no more than a few minutes or a few hours, price broke up above that high, started to look bullish, but completely rejected, came back and rejected the 7600 level, came down below, and has now made a very distinct and clear lower low. We've come back up and we've got a somewhat bearish candle here. If we can break down through that, it will be confirming a lower high, and we'll now be back into daily chart uptrend, and that period of indecision will have been confirmed now for a move to the downside. It's only the daily chart though, we need to look at higher time frames as well. Looking at the weekly chart, we've still got that same pattern. We're making, in fact it's a more distinct pattern now because it's on a weekly chart. We're making lower highs and we're making higher lows. It's very much a period of indecision. It's not the most sensible time for trading activity within there, simply because when I say within there on a weekly basis, i.e. I wouldn't want to make a trade either long or short that I was looking to be in for many weeks, simply because it's indecisive on that weekly period time frame right now. So I want to see some clear indication either of it breaking through there or a very clear sign of which way it's likely to break. That would probably need to come from one of the other time frames. So for now though, it's very indecisive and it doesn't tell us which way it's likely to go. However, a move up through these highs would be a really bullish sign, and a move down would be likely to actually break down and break significantly lower and make new lows again. Coming and looking at the monthly chart, this might help us wrap some things together. And what it really does is just keep on showing us that 7600 keeps on getting rejected. Even on this monthly basis, we can only see a couple of touches. You see a lot more touches when we go and look at that level on a daily or a weekly. But now we're coming up towards that level again, but it's still looking quite bearish. We've got a bearish candle here, and any breakdown through last month's candle would be very, very bearish. Now remember that pattern. This hasn't actually pulled back all that far, and see we've come down. We did start to pull back. We didn't quite get back to the averages. I'm going to show you a couple of other spot currencies that got pulled back a little bit further. But nonetheless, any breakdown through last month's low would be very, very bearish. To be confirming the monthly chart going down. It would also be a breakdown through these weekly lows, therefore confirming the weekly down, and the daily is already down. So I'm really watching that to see if we do break to the downside. If we, the thing is, even though I'm swaying slightly to the downside here now, I would be just as quick to jump on the bullish bandwagon if we can break up above 76 and back up above last month's high, which would mean we're breaking up out to the upside out of this weekly pattern. Either direction is fine by me. I'm just looking technically at which way do we break. At the moment the probability is just slightly to the downside, but I'll be just as happy to trade either direction. I just won't trade in the middle of that range on that weekly and monthly basis. However, there are trading opportunities within that range. So there's still opportunities for this week, and the key one remains 7600. I've said it every single week for months. I've talked about this level, and some of you might think I'm sounding like a bit of a broken record, but almost every single week there's more trading opportunities at that level. And I firmly believe if we get up to 7600 again this week, it'll provide more opportunity. We've had them back here rejected, back here rejected. We're coming up towards it again. We've even had breaks down and then pullbacks into that level. Multiple touches, multiple rejections of the 7600 level in many months. And if that happens again this week, I will be bearish below that level, and I'll be looking to short any bearish candle patterns around that level. But equally, if we broke above it, I'd be just as bullish on the upside. Most of the trades have come to the short side, but if we did break up above it, I'd be looking for any bullish pullback into 7600 for a bounce off and a continuation back up. So there's opportunities. That's where I see the main opportunities. Of course, the other place is just to be coming down to lower time frames and seeing what are these lower time frame patterns and trading with those direction. Now, bearing in mind this monthly chart, remember I said this monthly chart, if it breaks down through that low, looks a little bit bearish for the dollar index, and that's on a monthly basis. Let's have a look at AUD USD and look at this on the monthly chart. Very similar pattern, obviously just inverted. We came up, we pulled back, nearly got to the averages, bullish candle, and we're just now breaking up through the high of that candle. That's a very positive sign of AUD continuing up, therefore USD down. Now, I say this often, that Aussie dollar is not part of the dollar index, so it doesn't have a weighting in the actual, the benchmark that makes up the dollar index. However, still extremely important simply because the AUD is one of the strongest currencies out there in the world right now, and a lot of people are looking at it. Coming and just also looking at dollar CAD. And just another one which is much more correlated to the dollar index. And looking at this, we came down, very, very similar pattern to the dollar index. We came down, we came up, we got a bearish candle. This time though, we touched that sell zone, the 10-period moving average, very bearish candle. And like the Aussie dollar, we've already broken through, in this case, the low of it, or the AUD, the high. This is a very bearish sign for the US dollar on a monthly chart. So I'm just looking at those as a little bit of a heads up that even though the dollar index hasn't broken down through that low yet, and is quite some way away from doing it, there's a couple of other key currencies out there that have, and that is a little bit more of a sign for me of a potential breakdown. So my probability is definitely swaying to the downside. I'm looking, this range, we could be in it for who knows. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be a matter of hours once the market opens this week. I don't know how long we'll be in a range for. I wouldn't like to predict anything based on time. However, my probabilities at the moment are swaying towards when and if we do break, or when we do break, we will break to the downside, and that could be setting us up for quite a good move down. However, breaks in either direction are going to provide good trading opportunities. It doesn't matter if it's long or short. There'll be an opportunity in either direction. We just need to keep on watching, waiting for multiple time frame agreement, looking for all the time frames to line up to give us the trading opportunities. And in the meantime, there's multiple opportunities around the 7600 level. Each and every time the market tests that level, I have alerts set, and I'm looking for opportunities both on an intraday and a swing trade basis. And there's also multiple opportunities for more intraday traders down on lower time frames. Hope that helps everybody. Hope you've enjoyed this week's video. Speak to you next week.